Your home is a lot like your car. It requires regular maintenance to keep it safe and maintain its value. The professional technicians from Home Smiles complete all your annual maintenance items in just one day. Save time and keep your family safe with our complete 18-point service. Your home is a lot like your car. It requires regular maintenance to keep it safe and maintain its value. The professional technicians from Home Smiles complete all your annual maintenance items in just one day. Save time and keep your family safe with our complete 18-point service starting at just $49 a month. Order today with promo code FREEMONTH and we'll waive your first payment.
1-888-SMILE-11. One click or call, smile, it's done.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome here to round number 5 of the Nitro Lubricants Junior Late Model Esports Series tonight. Round 5 at the Richmond Raceway. My name is Chase Rodman alongside Chris Wheeler here in the Speed Lab TV booth. And Chris, so far after 4 races, we've seen some pretty incredible action. We saw quite the finish last week at Lucas Oil Raceway. And now we have an update on the point standings heading into these final 2 events. Dylan Baptista leads by just 16 markers over 2 other drivers in a dead tie. Chase Berta and Zach Morris for second. So things at the top of that points chart are getting pretty tight with quite a few prizes up for grabs. This should be interesting to see how these drivers handle the short track of Richmond tonight here in Virginia.
Absolutely correct. 2/3 of the way through the season, you see Baptista, who's been absolutely dominant with the overall speed throughout the entire season. And you got a couple drivers right there, not too far out. Obviously, Berta with a breakthrough drive last week at Lucas Oil Raceway Park in Indianapolis. And Zach Morris just quietly creeping around there in the 99 machine. Consistency might be the key that pays off for a championship run here for the driver of the 99.
Yeah, he has been very consistent. I don't know if we've really talked to him too much as far as at the end of the race, as far as the interviews goes, but Zach Morris has been very, very consistent up there in the top 10. And last week, Baptista would probably have a big lead, but got into Jaden Rana late in the race there, and Baptista ended up getting a black flag, an EOL penalty, and relegated him to around a 7th or 6th place finish and allowed a new winner to come out on top. That was Chase Berta with the victory. As we wrap up qualifying, and how about Teddy Custody? Quick time tonight there, Chris, here at Richmond. So Baptista's been probably the fastest guy in qualifying every week so far, but tonight it's Teddy Custody.
An impressive run there, 22.500 for the number 8 machine to get quick time. That's definitely going to possibly play into the mental side of Dylan Baptista here. Not quick time out of the box. This could be one of those really small moments that most people wouldn't pay attention to. That could be the difference maker here later on into the event tonight that could lead to a continued shift in the points as we look forward.
Let's take a look at the heat race number 1 starting lineup. It's 15 laps long. All of the drivers will make the feature tonight. There are 17 cars in attendance here for round number 5 of the Nitro Lubricants Junior Late Model Next Series. It's going to be Teddy Custody on the pole. Next to him is the 15 car of Caleb Johnson. Row 2, Katie Hettinger. And on the outside is Holly Clark in the 26 car. Row number 3, you'll find your latest winner with this series, the 18 of Chase Berta and Casey Klein on the outside. Row number 4, Nathaniel Edwards in the 12 and Trenton Yurdo in the 24. And then we've got Aiden Brooks in the number 9 car. He will start out back in the 9th starting spot. So getting ready for this first heat race of the night, Chris. And you are the resident expert, I would say, tonight. You got some practice laps on this track here tonight. And we talked about it before the broadcast went off. This is the first track these drivers have visited where the bottom of the racetrack is the preferred groove. We've ran Irwindale and we've ran Lucas Oil Raceway, the 2 previous tracks. And really, those places usually get up on the top of the track is where the preferred groove is. But tonight at Richmond on the bottom, that's going to really change things here this evening.
Absolutely. I did get a couple laps in here during open practice in ghost mode. And let me tell you, there's a few characteristics here at Richmond International Raceway that these drivers are going to have to face as a challenge here this evening. The first one, the obvious one, carrying speed into turn number 1. These cars have a pretty good setup on them, but carrying that speed in, it's so easy to it's so inviting to carry more speed in and really attack the corner, and the rear of the car steps out very quickly. The other one, how quickly the walls on exit of 2 and 4 will literally sneak right up and grab you. Those are 2 of the big ones that I see being the most, I don't know, the most problematic issues, as it looks like we're going to go green flag racing here in heat number 1.
Yep, green flag is out, and a great start up front from your front row drivers side by side as they head down into turn number 1 for the first time. It looks like custody is going to have
contact, though, in the back of the field. I believe it was the 24 and the 21 machines. And as I go back here and catch a replay, Chase, I got to tell you, I think you might have set me up to call that one. I believe it was Casey Klein in the 21. I got to get a better angle here just to see if there was indeed contact or not.
Oh, there definitely was. The 24 car, Trenton Yurdo.
Yep.
I don't think he was expecting the 1 car, or the 21, I should say, to get on the brakes that much. But, when you're on the top of the racetrack like that, entering the first corner, you really got to slow down and try and hit the apex off the corner just because it's so slow up there in that second and third groove. So Klein was trying to slow that thing down and turn it down off the exit of turn 2, and the 24 of Yurdo just wasn't expecting that. Got into the back of Casey Klein and went sideways right into the right side of Nathaniel Edwards. He kept going, but a lot of right side damage to that car, and we go yellow here in heat race number 1. We barely made it to turn 1 there, and that's kind of been the name of the game here with this Junior Late Model Esports Next Series. As long as you could survive, you're going to be up at the front of the field, and that's already showing here in heat race number 1.
So really disappointing, but that's right into what we were just about to finish talking about. I think one of the biggest things that you mentioned earlier was the fact that the 2 previous facilities were running around the top. We want to be banging down the boards, running the fence, carrying the momentum around the racetrack, not really focus so much on the bottom of the racetrack. Here, however, drivers are going to be going from outside in every single time they turn in a corner. One of the biggest problems that these drivers have faced consistently over the 4 previous weeks were drivers on the top turning down across the nose of drivers already committed to the bottom and having contact. How will that play out here throughout the rest of this evening as drivers are now fighting over that bottom spot? We already had the issue when drivers were supposed to be running the top. How big of an impact will that have on us later on?
And that will definitely be a good thing to watch here throughout the night, as this track does, as Chris mentioned, provide a lot of different characteristics from what we've seen here the last couple weeks as we're working under caution here in heat race number 1. We see quite a few people live here on the Raceface Brand Development Facebook page. If you're out there, let us know who you're cheering on. Let us know who your favorite driver it is. Let us know who you think is going to win here tonight. We'll get you a shout out on the air here. We do appreciate everybody chiming in and letting us know who you're watching. Got to thank some of the sponsors here with this Junior Late Model Esports Series, including Nitro Lubricants, the presenting sponsor, Joe's Racing Products, Victory Custom Trailers, Homesmiles.com, Raceface Telmed, along with Victory Lane Design, Racecraft One, and Madera Speedway out there in California. So we're getting ready. Looks like the lights are out. We're going to get a complete redo here of this first heat race start side by side. We're going to have 5 laps complete, and there's only 15 laps, so we're going to have 10 to go here. And it's still Custody up front and Caleb Johnson. Katie Hettinger in the 3rd spot. Chase Berta, the latest winner with this series. That Rowdy Energy number 18 car starting outside the 2nd row. And then third row is Holly Clark and Nathaniel Edwards. He's got damage to the right side. We'll see if he can hang on to that thing. Aiden Brooks was the big benefactor out of that wreck there. He made it by the 2 crash cars. He's up to 7th now as the green flag is coming out right here off of turn number 4. Chris Wheeler, we're going to head back into turn number 1 for the first time.
Here we go. Green flag out, and a big break there for your leader. Top 2 now spread out just a little bit. Side by side, rows 2, and now row 3 even starting to check up just a little bit. But so far, clean and green as we head off turn number 2 for the first official time here in heat race number 1.
Yeah, first time now down into turn number 3 here. And from watching the practice session, there was about an hour-long practice session before things got kicked off here tonight. It seemed like one of the tough things for these drivers, Chris, was them getting the left front tire on the apron, especially down here in 1 and 2. If you get the left front tire down the apron, it really brings that rear end of the car around. And I've seen a lot of guys overcorrect and go head on into the wall. So we'll have to keep an eye on that throughout the night.
Yeah, so how the hinge point works here at Richmond, where the paint is right there actually on the banking, but just below that paint line is where the flat for the apron begins. And that's the hinge point, because as soon as you get a left front tire on that thing, it unhinges the balance of the car, completely shifts the weight, and then at that point, for about 80% of the time, you're just along for the ride.
And we saw a moment there off of turn 2 for the 18 of Chase Berta. He almost hit the back straightaway wall, not allowed the 71 car of Katie Hettinger to look to the inside. And she will have the preferred groove heading down the front straightaway back into turn number 1. And here comes that 71 car of Hettinger. Berta slips up the track a little bit into lane 3. Now Hettinger sideways on the bottom, and Berta makes the move on the outside. So the outside of the track really played a good factor there, as we mentioned. The infield, the apron there, very sideways. Oh, your leader nearly spins out down the front stretch. We got a race to the lead up front there as Caleb Johnson looks to the inside. He'll take the lead in turn 1 there, Chris.
You talked about unhinging the race car, and that's exactly what happened to Katie Hettinger last time through 1 and 2, and then Berta just did it himself, but he was just not as big there. As now Hettinger potentially is going to lose a spot here, running 4th. Driver on the inside are now trying to make that move. Holly Clark. Berta all over the place. Clark's going to get a 2-for here, a 2-for-1 special, 5th to 3rd now, driving off into turn number 1. So maybe overshoots the corner just a little bit, leaves the bottom exposed, but neither Berta or Hettinger have the ability to capitalize as they head to turn number 3.
And Chris, I mentioned you were the resident expert here tonight. I did not run any laps on track or with this setup, but after watching Chase Berta right there off turn 4, this thing looks loose. I mean, he was sawing on the wheel off 4 almost all the way to the flag stand, trying to get the tires under that thing. This setup looks like it's going to be really... Oh, he's into the wall. Berta just tagged the wall. Right front damage. And now a race for the lead is developing here with a lap car up ahead. 3 laps to go this time by. But, man, Chris, this setup looks like it's a handful here tonight.
An absolute handful, but it's also... Here's the thing. If you stay grounded and you do what you know is the right thing and stay patient with the race car and work on consistency, work on momentum, it's a beautiful car to drive here tonight at Richmond International Raceway. When you get excited, you start losing a little bit of focus and you start kind of going off reactions too much. I think that's when you're going to see drivers getting in trouble, because here it's very narrow and it's very difficult. There's pretty much a line and a half that you've got to keep it on. And if you don't keep it on the island per se, you're going to have a very long night here under the lights at Richmond.
I definitely agree with that, as we've got the 8 car of Teddy Custody trying to track back down that 15 of Caleb Johnson. Julius Barham on Facebook says he thinks the 8 of Teddy Custody is going to win this heat race here. He's got work to do as we're working on the white flag. And here we come down the backstretch. Johnson kind of missed his marks a little bit down there in 1 and 2. He's got about a car length gap over Custody as they work back into turn 3 for the final time here in heat race number 1. Custody trying to drive that thing off the bottom of turn number 4, but he's not going to get there in time. And the 15 of Caleb Johnson will win the first heat race, and he will be on the pole for the 80-lap feature tonight at the Richmond Raceway. Johnson doing a great job, and man, I think that Dylan Baptiste, the points leader with this series, he's going to have his hands full here tonight there, Chris. It looks like Custody and Johnson, they both came to play tonight.
Knowing that one of Baptiste's strong suits so far has been consistency, I think that tonight's going to go one of 2 ways. I don't think there's going to be an in-between for Dylan Baptiste. He's going to be very smooth, and he's going to be able to have the speed he needs to drive off into the sunset. Or this thing is going to absolutely be a nightmare for the driver of the 7. I don't have a preference either way. I just hope for some great, clean racing come feature time here this evening.
I can't agree with that statement anymore as we get ready for the second heat race. It's going to be the 7 of Dylan Baptista. He will be on the pole. Next to him is the 27 of Evan Rygielski. The second row looks like the 99 car of Zach Morris. And on the outside is the 79 of Joaquin Stewart. Row 3 is Chasen Groff in the 77 and the 10 car of Easton Zent. And in row 4, the 20 of Cole Patrick and the 66 car of Trevor Raymond. We forgot to mention tonight that these drivers, the Junior Late Model Esports next series, well, obviously it's in the name, the Junior Late Models, but these drivers here, Chris, between the ages of 10 and 16 years old. And, man, they've put on some good shows for us here these last couple weeks. And tonight I'm expecting nothing different. But it's just incredible to see these young kids out here, putting on a good show in some of these high-powered stock cars.
This is most likely going to be the most difficult test that these drivers have seen so far after 4 weeks of racing. No doubt about it. Really happy that, obviously they chose Richmond International Raceway for the final 2 rounds. And I think, to me, one of the coolest parts about having these drivers on running these events back-to-back weeks, same track, is to see their development, see their growth. See them come in here on the first week like it is here tonight at Richmond. There might be some mistakes, might be some sloppiness, but then seeing how these drivers have the ability to adapt, to learn, and improve on their craft, not only when they're by themselves, but when they're running in a pack, and come back the second week and really turn that switch on. And that goes back again to what we've talked about all season long, the whole focal point of what this series really means.
Absolutely. Pace car is off at turn number 4, and we're looking for the green flag. There it is, and a great start on the outside for Evan Rygielski. He will lead at the stripe, but Baptista is going to have the preferred groove here. Down into 1 and 2, kind of misses the bottom a little bit. Rygielski trying to turn it down off of turn number 2. He's got to run down the back straightaway. Great corner there by the 27 of Rygielski as they head into turn 3. A little bit too high right there, Chris, and he's going to lose the lead, and really he's going to slot into that second spot, but Rygielski a little bit too high there. We're 3 wide down the front stretch behind him.
3 wide for the third spot as a head off, and the driver disappears, blinks out, contact. Everybody's going to hold it. No. So that was unfortunate. A car had a flash out there, and that I don't know if that triggered it, because all of a sudden when the car came back on, there was car sideways.
Yeah, I believe the car that had a little bit of an internet connection problem there was the 77 of Chasen Groff, and he was probably in the worst spot for that to happen. He was on the bottom 3 wide there going into the corner. Maybe if it was the guy on the outside, that would have been such a big deal, but it kind of spooked the guys behind him, the 20 of Cole Patrick and the 10 of Easton Zent. They came into the corner, they collided, spun around, and they bring out the caution here. So 2 early yellows here in both heat races this evening. So just a little bit of contact there, and those drivers should be able to continue on. But internet connection problems, that's one of the things here in iRacing that these drivers have to deal with. There's no engine troubles, no transmissions going out. It's the things like internet, the things like computer and hardware issues that will really bite the drivers here, and really those are the things that will take them out of the race, with the exception of crashes, obviously.
And after that, obviously, crashing, I don't think we actually got enough completed per the rules, and it appears that the race stewards have decided to kick us back to single file here for this next restart.
And after this heat race, there's no B main here tonight. 17 drivers in attendance, and I kind of want to touch on that. 17 cars here tonight. That's the least amount we've had. We've had 22, we've had 24 on the track, and I think with 17 cars, that is going to, show that there probably will be a lot less yellows, I would think, Chris, because there's just less cars on the track, obviously. So I think tonight we could see a long green flag run, and with how the setup is, conserving that right rear tire for 80 straight laps at Richmond is definitely going to play a key factor here for the race leaders. You don't want to drive that thing too hard and burn up the right front, but you don't want to get sideways off the corner and burn up the right rear tire. So I think with 17 cars, it's going to provide a different race here tonight. We're going to see a lot more green flag laps, and these drivers are going to have to conserve those tires a little bit.
I think that, like you said, yeah, we have a little bit less drivers in the field right now, but the action has been consistent all season long, no matter how many cars we had on track. I'm anticipating a really action-packed feature event for sure. Obviously, I don't think we're going to have to worry about an LCQ again here this evening, but man, that feature is going to be one heck of a showdown.
And as we mentioned, the points battle getting really tight at the top. Dylan Baptista's 16-point lead over the likes of Chase Berta and Zach Morris. And I talk about the points. If this is your first time watching the Junior Late Model Esports Next Series, you might be wondering, well, what the heck is this? At the end of the champion of the series, he will get a value of $1,500, custom driver website, a logo design for that driver, and then social media graphics. Second place, a $600 value, and that's a custom hero card design with 250 hero cards printed and a free Racecraft 1 one-on-one training session, and then another one of those one-on-one training sessions for the third place driver. So a lot on the line for these guys that are looking to make a name for themselves in the big leagues of stock car racing here. Obviously, social media presence is a huge thing in today's market. And so if you can get yourself a custom driver website, logo design, and social media graphics, that'll make you look a lot better out there as we go back to green here on lap number 7. Baptista with a good start, gets up through the gears real nice right there, heads down into turn 1, off turn 2, down the back straightaway. Everybody looks like they've single filed out here as they work down the back stretch. Now we got a race for about the 6th spot.
Well, unfortunately, what I don't think you're able to see there, I was panning back to the back of the field here. Cole Patrick warming up his tires, coming to the green, turned Trevor Raymond. Officials unable to get to it in time. Just like that, Jason Groff slides down the front straightaway, and the yellow flag comes back out. And that right there might have been the saving grace for Trevor Raymond. He was turned under caution, coming to the green, and was about a quarter track behind there before they got going, and then the yellow popped.
And we've talked about the setup here tonight, and it looks like that is what just bit the 77 car of Chase and Groff. He gets very sideways on the exit of turn 4, tries to save the race car, but as we've seen so far tonight, Groff has got some internet connection issues here, and he blinked out right there, and when he was getting sideways, the driver that was behind him actually drove through his car and spun him around right there. So not exactly the ideal circumstances here tonight for the 77 of Chase and Groff, as he will slip back to the rear of the field here, and Dylan Baptista will still show the way as he comes around. He completes lap number 10 this time by, and we're only going to have about 2 or 3 laps to go when the green flag comes back out. We'll see if the 27 of Evan Rygielski will attempt to put a move on him here, because winning a heat race here with the Junior Late Model Esports Next Series is oh so important, Chris. If you win a heat race, you are on the front row for the main event, and we've seen track position be a key factor in winning these races.
Absolutely. Now, if this is the first heat race, I'm thinking I'm sitting second. It's not the end of the world if I'm not on the pole, because third here is going to be a great starting spot. Even if I'm running third, it's okay, because fifth's actually probably better than fourth. Third's probably better than second. But when you're talking about heat race 2, being on the outside lane, I'm not really liking where I'm sitting. I'd love to be second over fourth, sixth, eighth, any of those numbers. So this one obviously I think means a little bit more than the first heat race did when it comes to track position, you could say, when we get going for the feature.
Yeah, I can't wait to see how the feature works out. The first corner is going to be absolute madness here, as we've got the guy that won that first heat race, Caleb Johnson. He has not won a race yet with this series, along with Teddy Custody. Those two had a great battle in that first heat race. They are both looking for their first win with the Junior Late Model Esports Next Series. We've had, I think, 3 winners. Dominic Carter, Dylan Baptista's won 2 of them, and then last week we saw Chase Berta get the victory. So we might see a 4th different winner here tonight. It looks like Caleb Johnson. He might have something to say about the victory here tonight, along with Teddy Custody, who was the quick time driver in qualifying this evening. But Baptista, man, he has been solid as a rock every single week, even after some issues that have come up throughout the main events. He seems to overcome those issues and always come back to have a pretty good finish. So I think the lights will hopefully go out this time by on the pace car, and we should see the green next time by there, Chris.
Another wild mystery that maybe the viewers at home can fill us in on. We're missing somebody again this week, and Dominic Carter. Last week he was signed in with Baptista as a spotter crew guy, but no show this week, and Dominic Carter had showed tons of speed there until we just stopped seeing him on track. So it's still unfortunate. Maybe somebody out there in the interwebs on the universe that are watching live can give us an idea of what's going on. I don't know if he broke a wheel or he's back racing in real life or what's going on, but it's definitely unfortunate here as the weeks progress and he's not with us.
Yeah, another guy like that, the same as Dominic Carter, Jaden Morena, who he didn't win a race, but he was very, very good every single week. He was with us last week at Lucas Oil Raceway, leading the race and got turned around late in the going there. He is not here this weekend, or this Monday night, I should say, as the pace car is off. Green flag coming back out. We're going to have 3 to go at the stripe, as Baptista once again gets a great start up front, pulls away 3 car lengths over the 27 of Evan Rydzielski. Everybody down into 1 and 2 for the first time. And it looks like Jennifer Baptista answers your question there, Chris. Dominic Carter racing his micro out of town this week.
Well, there you go. I appreciate her giving us the insight on that. Definitely another good young driver here that we've seen in the ranks, and looking forward to seeing him again in the future, and wishing him the best of luck wherever he's running that micro.
Green flag is still waving here, and we're coming around for the white flag this time by Baptista. Tagged the apron a little bit right there. Car got just a tad bit sideways there. And now Rydzielski is all over him as they head back into turns 3 and 4. Coming around for the white flag here. Final lap in heat race number 2 for the Nitro Lubricants Junior Late Model Esports Next Series Round 5 here at the Richmond Raceway. Baptista looking at me, turns that car super late into the corner compared to the 27 of Rydzielski, and he gets a run down the back straightaway as they head through 3 and 4 for the final time here. Chris, Baptista looking to take home another heat race win.
Definitely going to help Baptista here. Stay focused. Look at the big picture as we go feature racing next. But you can't count out Rydzielski here later on either. That's an impressive heat race. I think one of the keys to track position tonight and gaining it without having to use the chrome horn is going to be being able to stalk the driver in front of you, force them into making mistakes, and never let the pressure up, which can sometimes be harder to be the guy pushing given the pressure than the driver trying to hold it off.
Definitely agree with that. Now we have a 5-minute warm-up session for these drivers to kind of feel out the race cars, feel out the racetrack here at Richmond Raceway. And with that, we're going to take a short break here on Speed Lab TV and the Raceface Brand Development Facebook page. We'll be right back here for the 80-lap main event for round number 5 of the Nitro Lubricants Junior Late Model Esports Next Series. 80 laps coming up here in just a few minutes.
Your home is a lot like your car. It requires regular maintenance to keep it safe and maintain its value. The professional technicians from Home Smiles complete all your annual maintenance items in just one day. Save time and keep your family safe with our complete 18-point service starting at just $49 a month. Order today with promo code FREEMONTH and we'll waive your first payment.
1-888-SMILE-11. One click or call, smile, it's done.
All right, so 1 minute left here in the warm-up session as we're getting ready for 80 laps tonight at the Richmond Raceway for round number 5 of the Nitro Lubricants Junior Late Model Esports Next Series here from Richmond Raceway. Got to thank the sponsors that have come on board for this series to put it all together. Joe's Racing Products, Victory Custom Trailers, Homesmiles.com, Raceface Telmed, Victory Lane Design, Racecraft One, along with the Madera Speedway. Once again, my name is Chase Rodman. Chris Wheeler is here as well, and we are getting ready for 80 laps at this famed racetrack in Richmond, Virginia. Chris, we've seen some great stuff so far in the heat races, and I think we've got about 3 or 4 drivers that have a really, really good shot at not only putting on a good show for us, but to maybe win this race.
Yeah, I really think the field's going to shape up quite well tonight. Looking back at some of the results, I was just taking a look. Obviously, your winners in your heat races, right? Baptista, Rajilski, of course. I think Phoenix and Morris will be quick as well out of that second group. Out of that first group, obviously, Johnson, Cutchity, and Holly Clark really stood out with a lot of speed. I think Hettinger had early speed. Not sure if there's a bobble there. And a couple drivers got caught up in some incidents. So small in numbers, large in talent is the field here tonight. And honestly, this one's up for anybody.
No doubt about it. Here we go. This is the lineup for tonight's 5th round of this series. It's going to be Caleb Johnson on the pole by virtue of winning that first heat race of the night. Dylan Baptista on the outside of him for row number 1. Row 2, the 8 of Teddy Cuschity, and on the outside, the 27 car of Evan Rajilski. Row 3 is the 26 of Holly Clark and the 79 of Joaquin Stewart. Row 4, 24 car Trenton Yurdo and the 99 of Zach Morris. Row 5, you'll see Katie Hettinger in the 71 and the 10 car of Easton Zent. Row number 6 should be Chase Berta. That's the latest winner with the Junior Late Model Esports Next Series. And on the outside of him, the 20 of Cole Patrick. Row 7 is the 12 of Nathaniel Edwards and the 66 of Trevor Raymond. And then row number 8 is Casey Klein and Chasen Groff. And then Aiden Brooks in the number 9 machine will roll off from 17th here. And I think the guy that's really the big surprise tonight is the 18 of Chase Berta, fresh off that win at Lucas Oil Raceway, Chris. He has got a lot of work to do. Starting way back in the 11th spot in that Rowdy Energy number 18 car, but I think that's really just been the game plan for him every single week. It seems like he does not get through the heat race very well and always seems to start mid-pack in these races.
Well, obviously, Berta's done a great job getting through the field, as has Zach Morris, and that's why they're up there for that points fight. Really excited to see if Caleb Johnson can continue after that heat race, really get out in front here, lead some laps, get some fresh air, make first dust, and see what he can do with this hot rod. I honestly think there's about 6 or 7 cars that really stand out, but as we know, anything can happen in these Junior Late Model Esports Next Series events.
Going green next time by, and we've got some comments coming on Facebook. Mason Herms, I hope I said that right, asked if this is something anyone can buy, set up, and do. Yes, iRacing.com. Head over there and they've got all the information you need. Shirley Baptista cheering on Dylan Baptista, Janice Nybert, Trenton Yurdo, she's cheering him on. And then Jesse Hettinger cheering on Katie Hettinger. Here we go, 80 laps tonight from the Richmond Raceway. We're so glad you could join us here on Speed Lab TV and the Raceface brand development page. Round number 5 is green here off of turn number 4 with the 15 of Caleb Johnson and the 7 of Dylan Baptista as we head down the front stretch, down to turn number 1 for the first time. Who's going to come out on top down the back straightaway here, Chris Wheeler?
4 wide, about middle back as they head off into turn number 1. So far, cleaning green, 1 driver way down on the bottom of the apron. But how about that? We came off turn number 2 and everybody headed in the right direction. Knock on wood or anything you've got around you. This might be the best start we've had all year. And
we had contact for the second spot. Baptista ran into the right rear of Teddy Cuschity, and it shot that 7 car up the racetrack, allowed the 27 of Evan Rajilski to go by, and now Holly Clark to the inside for 4th. So your points leader is slipping back. Baptista now looking back to the inside of Holly Clark, but not a good start at all for your points leader here, Chris, and he's trying to bring home that $1,500 value championship prize here.
Well, the yellow flag is out. Sorry to interrupt you, but that points championship just got a little bit harder. Chase Berta hits the pit in attenuator, having to get a toe stuck in the wall. As I'm going back to the replay here to see exactly what happened to put the 18 Rowdy Energy machine into that position. Looks like as they head off into turn number 3, some contact from the 20 machine. Brad about midway through turn in, turns the 18, almost saved it. Great drift, great attempt. right in the wall, car plugged. That one is going to be a game changer for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, and he's going to, as you mentioned, use a tow, which is at least a minute and a half of sitting in the pits, which means that Chase Berta more than likely will go at least 2 laps down here. And, yeah, really, really tough break for the winner at the Lucas Oil Raceway. And Berta's going to have to use his quick fix very early. But that was easily the most clean start to a race that we've seen throughout the 5 races. And, you know, it just shows that these drivers are getting better and better every single week. But I think we have to point out the 7 of Dylan Baptista, not off to a great start here. And he's all the way back to the 4th spot after starting second. That just goes to show how tough it is to maintain on the outside of the racetrack. I think once the tires get heated up, Chris, the top is not nearly as bad. But on the start with cold tires, there was just no shot for that 7 car to maintain.
It's really hard. You definitely need to get the heat in the tires, but you got to be careful, like we've talked about multiple times this season and here this evening. You cannot abuse the tires. You get one set, you take tires, you get a disqualification at any time in the pits. So, you know, I think a little bit of this is mental also, though. I feel like some of these drivers have been just close enough to Baptista over the last 4 weeks, but haven't quite been good enough to really pull it off. And this track, obviously a big curveball looking after, you know, the last 2 tracks we've been to, really had an opportunity here. And they're taking full advantage of any opportunity they can to get around the number 7.
More shout-outs coming in here on Facebook. We've got Brianna Cadle cheering on Katie Hettinger along with Shelly Hanna. And then Kelly Rygielski cheering on Evan Rygielski. He currently rides in the 3rd spot here. So working under yellow on lap number 5. And still 75 laps remaining here from Richmond Raceway. All 3 of the drivers at the front of the field right now, Chris, all looking for their first win with this Junior Late Model Esports Next Series. So pretty good shot at a first-time winner tonight. And as we've seen in the Victory Lane interviews, these kids get hyped up for a win. As we see Chase Berta finally making his way off pit road, and he is 2 laps down. But as we mentioned, man, these kids get pumped for one of these Junior Late Model Esports wins.
I mean, it takes a lot to do these things. I ran about 15, 20 laps in practice, and I made about 7 without crashing alone, mind you. Now, granted, the stock car stuff is not really what I spend most of my iRacing time on, but, you know, it takes a lot of practice. These kids have put in a massive amount of work, a lot of training with the folks at Racecraft 1 here in Indianapolis. They've definitely put in what it takes to become winners and champions here in this division. So to get a win, to pull it off, running against, you know, other drivers in the same age group, it really does mean a lot.
Oh, that was a close call on the front stretch. Baptista tried to get in line behind the 27 of Evan Rygielski, and he nearly turned him head on into the wall on the front straightaway, and it leaves Baptista losing another spot to Holly Clark, and now the 79 of Joaquin Stewart takes a look to the inside down in turn number 3. So Baptista, he's got the anchor out, man. He's dropping out a little bit here as Joaquin Stewart, now Zach Morris trying to make it 3 wide down the front stretch. Oh, contact up front, and the inside wall for Custody and Rygielski.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I was watching a battle happen here with Bert as he's trying to come through the field. Then to see that contact happen, you don't want to see that, especially the front runners. Especially even 2 drivers that might have had a great shot early on looking at being able to pull this thing off if they could have stayed grounded. And as I look back to the replay, Rygielski with a run on Custody. Custody got up, touched the wall, came down right in front of the 27 machine, both cars in the fence. Rygielski literally nowhere to go, heavy damage, then collected the 21 machine on the backside of the accident.
And if you've watched what happens to Custody there, obviously Richmond Raceway, not a straightaway. It's, you know, a curved kind of, I don't know if you'd even call it a trial, but it's just a very curved D shape there down the front stretch. And Custody, it looked like, honestly, he just forgot to turn right there going down the straightaway, ran that thing into the wall and slowed him down enough to where the 27 was already right behind him. And man, obviously huge damage, you mentioned, for the 21 of Casey Klein as she hit the A car when he shot back up the racetrack. But that's just one of the things that Richmond provides. Another interesting thing is that straightaway. I didn't think we were going to have to be talking about that tonight, but these drivers have to watch out for, you know, that non-straight wall there. You know, I mean, Custody just forgot to turn there and plugged it right in the fence.
So just like that, those 4 drivers that we saw up front with an opportunity here to knock down to the original 2. That's Caleb Johnson, who continues to lead this in the number 15 machine, and Holly Clark doing a fantastic job. And so far, Clark started 5th, running 2nd. As we look back to some other big movers, just trying to keep an eye out here. Aiden Brooks, 17th, 13th. A lot of drivers staying close. 16th to 9th for Chase and Groff. So those kind of tend to be your movers. The Holly Clark moving up, Stewart moving up from 6th to 4th, 8th to 5th for Zach Morris. So we look back, we talked about what Zach Morris has been doing, how Zach Morris without a win has been able to put himself in this championship conversation by doing exactly what he's doing right now in the number 99. Avoiding the drama, staying out of trouble, taking care of a race car.
Yeah, he currently rides in that 5th spot, and we've got race purses each night for this series. For first place, get a $50 gift card and a T-shirt. Second place, $25 and a T-shirt. Third place is a hat and a shirt, and then also shirts and hats for the drivers that are either the fastest qualifier or on the fastest race lap, are leading at halfway throughout the race, or the hard charger on the night. So a lot of contingency prizes up for grabs for these kids here. And that's a pretty cool thing to have a race purse each night throughout this 6-race series. As I think we're going green. Nope, we've got one more lap here under the iRacing pace car. Caleb Johnson, I think he's got the best car on the racetrack. Obviously, we haven't ran enough laps to really tell if he is the best car. But as you mentioned, Holly Clark doing a really, really good job right now in the 2nd spot. She really hasn't been a talk as far as a conversation of the top 5 runners throughout these last couple weeks. But tonight, at Richmond Raceway, she must have ran a lot of practice laps, because she is looking strong, keeping that car glued to the bottom, and she drove right by the current points leader, Dylan Baptista, and Holly Clark looking for a win here tonight.
Man, tip of the cap to iRacing. I just got to tell you, with all these updates and all the great things, as I look to the infield here, we've got an ambulance and tow trucks all with their lights on still, matching the track lights. I just love the amount of detail that this service and this platform provides to the end user. There's nothing that is not looked at as far as the detail.
And I'm pretty sure this track actually just got an update, like literally 2 weeks ago. So yeah, I mean, iRacing always trying to stay up to date, especially for their NASCAR content. They do a lot of updates for that stuff, trying to keep it up to date, because iRacing has become a huge part of NASCAR after all those pro invitationals and things like that. So yeah, Chris, definitely a good call there with the attention to detail that the guys at iRacing put into this simulation. As the pace car lights are coming off, and he's going to pull into the infield and leave the field in the hands of Caleb Johnson and Holly Clark. As we come back to green this time by, it'll be 14 laps in, and I believe my math, if it's correct, 66 laps to go from Richmond Raceway for the 5th round of the Junior Late Model Esports next series. Good start for Caleb Johnson. He's clear down into turn 1, and he's heading down to the bottom of the racetrack and going to lead this 17-car field down the back straightaway.
More contact in the back. Hutchity's going to get into the 18 machine. So far, still green. If I go back, the 18 of Berta is going to be able to do a 360 and keep going here, losing the large gap here to the field in front. That's unfortunate. Obviously, some of these drivers caught up in earlier incidents, multiple laps down, back here in the back.
And Baptista able to make it by Holly Clark on the restart, so he's up to the 2nd spot. But Caleb Johnson nearly has a 1-second advantage at the front of the field in the 15 machine. Let this time by, his lap time will be a 22:45, and we got a yellow back on the racetrack.
Another driver in the fence over here off turn number 4. I'm looking to
Chase and Groff, I think.
check this out. You are correct. Chase and Groff is the driver in the fence. Now we're going to look back and see how and why. Carried speed down and just carried too much speed into turn number 3. Lost the rear of the race car. Good drift. Tried to hold on to it. And then it hooked up and it grabbed all that counter steer input that he had in the car. Spun the 77 around. Light contact on the left rear, but just enough to bring out another yellow.
Yeah, really not a whole lot of damage to that 77 car. It will definitely not warrant a need of a quick repair there. As we look at the full race rundown right now, we've got it looks like 13 cars on the lead lap. Berta 2 laps down, Ryjelski, Cushity, and Klein. The 3 drivers that were involved in that big accident a few laps ago, they're all 3 laps down. But Baptista I think I just saw him queue up here as far as his mic goes inside the server. He's probably not too happy having to restart on the outside. It seems like every time he does that, he loses at least 2 or 3 positions after he got by Holly Clark there. And now he's pretty much going to more than likely get relegated back to at least 3rd on the restart if Holly Clark can get a good start here. So, yeah, really, starting on the outside is definitely a big headache for these drivers tonight, and Baptista's probably not too pleased with that.
It does mess with your mind here a little bit after a while. You know, the amount of, I don't know if you'd call it the going inside, outside, working your tail off to get a spot back up, and it's annoying. Like, I'm just going to say it, in the driver's point of view, man, it's just not very fun. And so I can understand the frustration, but Berta's going to get the wave around here. Lucky Dog Award. It should only be 1 lap down now, so another caution, being the only car 1 lap down, I believe, once we go green, might allow Berta to get back to the lead lap here.
Yeah, 1 more caution. Maybe he will get it back right now. We'll have to wait to see how the timing and scoring works out here. Looks like we are going to hopefully get the lights out this next time by. Still, the race officials are deeming a double file restart, which we've seen every single week. No matter how many cautions, we are going to keep it a double file restart here tonight. And this time by coming down to 20 laps completed. Most of them under caution, but from what we've seen under green, I think we've got a couple of really good drivers at the front of the field. They're going to put on a good show. And, I mean, this has been the talk of the town about every single week here, Chris. A lot of yellows for about the first half of the race, and then towards the end, everybody kind of gets it figured out, and we see some really good racing. You know, most of the time for the lead, it's not as incredible, but 2nd through about 7th is where, you know, the real action gets going.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think the hard part for these drivers on these restarts is that 3rd, 4th, maybe through 8th or 9th positions, as those drivers all trying to take advantage of opportunities, knowing how hard it's going to be to pass once they're green flag racing.
So the lights did not go out that time by. Usually, if there is a car or a couple of cars on the or a lap down, the caution lights will stay on for an extra lap just to get that wave around driver back around the track and get him caught back up. That was Chase Berta, and so that means we'll get the lights out this time by. Chris, racing starting to open up around the country. What are you looking forward to in real life here as far as real racing? Where are you going next?
You know, actually, the crazy thing for me is just a lot of clients going back racing, which means, you know, getting kind of back up to some of the management stuff, the marketing stuff, and making sure that, you know, we're always going back over contracts every week now, trying to make sure that everybody's still in tune. So that's kind of the big thing. That's what we're looking at the most. I don't really plan on going anywhere here so for a bit. Maybe Hopstad next week, not this coming week, but the following for the World of Outlaws. Going to miss Knoxville this weekend. But, you know, also at the same time, I've also kind of enjoyed my Saturdays. And with some of the great coverage out there, I'm not really sure when I'll be back at a racetrack other than here or there.
Yeah, definitely been some really good coverage on the dirt side of things with, you know, Dirt Vision, FlowRacing.com with the dirt side of racing as the pace car is off. And we're coming back to green this time by. Caleb Johnson, another great restart. You see Baptista trying to squeeze Holly Clark down, but she's going to force it in there, and she's going to take that bottom side, the preferred groove. And here comes Joaquin Stewart trying to follow suit. He looks to the inside of Baptista down the backstretch for 3rd.
Joaquin Stewart with a great start now to the bottom of Baptista, trying to take over that 3rd spot. Baptista carrying the momentum really well here on the outside line. Going to kind of let the car float off the corner, power down, and Joaquin Stewart not having the easiest of times making that pass to get into P3 as they head back into turn number 1.
Yeah, hard to keep speed up on the bottom when you can't let it drift up to the wall. And there you saw Joaquin was trying to stay off of the 7 of Baptista, cost him some momentum, and Baptista was able to power back around him on the outside. But now Baptista will turn his attention to the 26 car of Holly Clark as she lies just ahead. And really, Caleb Johnson has not pulled away too far. He's got about a 4-car length advantage over Clark as they head back into turns 1 and 2. Clark misses the bottom. Actually kind of runs a double apex there, and here comes Baptista to the rear bumper, and he looks to the inside down the backstretch.
Big look into the bottom. Going to force the issue here with Holly Clark. A little bit of a slide job, you could say. Drives down to the apron, drives right back across the front of Clark. Clark going to do a little crossover move now as they head back into turn number 1, and Clark with a great drive now to the bottom, the number 7 of Baptista. But Baptista's got those tire temps starting to come in. and making that second groove work pretty nice. Just has to be careful right there off of turn number 2 because that wall comes up real quick.
Yeah, great crossover move right there by Holly Clark to get back underneath the 7-car Baptista. They're still side by side down the front straightaway, and Baptista's going to have that momentum on the high side, but you'll see right here in 1 and 2, if Holly can hit that yellow line just right, she should get back ahead of him, and she does, but here comes that run off the top of the racetrack. Baptista nearly tags the wall, and they're side by side.
For the cautions, we've got a car around here in turn number 4, and there it is. As I get back here to it, it appears it was Trenton Yurto, I saw it out of the back. I'm watching from a reversed angle here tonight, trying to get a little bit better angle on some stuff. And as they drove off into the corner down in turn 1, Yurto in the number 24 machine carried just too much speed in the corner, let the rear end come around, caught it once, and then just snapped around, backed it in the wall. And then on the follow through, the front's going to tag, and that is all it takes for a caution here at Richmond International.
And how many times have we seen that tonight? I mean, drivers just, cooking that thing down into the corner a little bit too hot and spinning it around. We saw Chase and Groff do it earlier. I saw a lot of drivers earlier on in practice doing that exact same thing. We talked about it so far tonight that the setup, very, very hard to drive here tonight, and it's kind of throwing these drivers for a loop. But I think with that caution, that'll put Chase Berta back on the lead lap, and that is a key moment there for Berta because he is 16 points behind Baptista in the chase for this next series championship. And you see Berta trying to get his lap back right now. Still a lot of laps to go, and a big opportunity here for Berta to get back up towards the top 5 and maybe maintain that points gap with Baptista as he will restart on the outside for the upcoming restart. But how about Katie Hedinger? I'm wearing her t-shirt right now. Up into the top 5 position in that 71 car after going upside down last week at Lucas Oil Raceway. She's looking for a big turnaround tonight at Richmond.
So Hedinger has had this ability to really get through some of the drama and show some speed and drive towards the front. Her biggest downside, however, has been being able to keep it on the island and continue to ride that wave of survival and when we get just around the halfway point.
And a little bit of news here on the Facebook chat. Stephanie Cushity, not sure if that's the mom of Teddy Cushity or not, but she says told by Teddy that in his first accident, his steering wheel cut out, which would make a lot of sense, Chris, because he just drove into the straightaway wall, which is something that you would not normally see Teddy Cushity do. He's a pretty experienced driver, and he's ran really well with this series, so that would make sense if his wheel had an issue, and he just drove straight in the fence.
That is the unfortunate part. I mean, you think about it, we're relying a lot on technology. Now, I know steering boxes can break in race cars, but we're relying on electronics, and if something has a glitch or a short or you look at it wrong sometimes, it just doesn't want to work, and that's the downside to sim racing and the whole esports environment. The upside, though, all the parents of all these great skilled drivers tonight, they're not paying crash damage, tire bill, hotels for the crew, pit passes, you name it. All inclusive here. Once you got it, you're good to go.
Yeah, they're paying the $12 a month subscription. They're paying the $12 for the car and the track. That's about it. That's all it takes to go racing here on iRacing.com. More shout-outs here on the Facebook. Grandpa Jack Prest cheering on Katie Hedinger tonight. Molly Hines is cheering on our race leader, Caleb Johnson, who I don't know if we've given him enough press here tonight. Caleb Johnson, I'm not exactly sure what his best finish is so far this season, but he definitely, I don't think, has led any laps. And he's led every single one of the 30 circuits so far tonight. He has definitely been the class of the field. And we'll just see if that is able to continue on here as we continue with the rest of this 50-lapper. And we got a little bit of a good run there. And Sokol Motorsports chiming in here on Facebook. Go Justice Sokol. Well, Sokol Motorsports, unfortunately, I'm here to tell you that Justice is not in the race tonight. I'm not sure if... I'm not really sure what happened, if he went to go get a snow cone or something and he forgot to sign up for the race or whatever. But the pace lights are off, and Caleb Johnson's going to have a restart once again to deal with the 7 of Baptista, the 26 of Holly Clark. Joaquin Stewart's done a great job. He's running in 4th. And then Katie Hedinger and Zach Morris in the 3rd row. We'll see what happens here as these drivers have to come up against another one of these tough Richmond Raceway restarts. Row 4 back there, Chasen Groff and Trevor Raymond. As we come around turn number 4, we're back underway. Green flag's in the air there, Chris.
Green flag out, and a great start here for Caleb Johnson as they head off into turn number 1. A little flicker there for Baptista, maybe. So a little bit of connectivity could be an issue there. Hopefully we'll keep an eye on that. Holly Clark going to get a great drive, though, off the bottom. No challenges. Hedinger now going to make a dive to the bottom for P number 4. Will Hedinger have enough to carry the momentum and follow Holly Clark through to move Baptiste back? Oh, and another big one over off turns 3 and 4. Just waiting for the caution here.
I think we're going to say green.
Not mad about that. As I look back at it, though, it looks like Zent was involved, Berta was involved. That's unfortunate right there. I saw Katie Hedinger just hop up in our voice chat, not happy about something.
Yeah, I saw what happened there. She looked to the inside of Joaquin Stewart right there on the backstretch, and Joaquin said this lane is closed, hung a left down the straightaway and threw the block at her. And I don't think Katie was, oh, look out right in front of your leader. We got a car very off the pace, very slow. The 10 of Easton Zent. Your leaders had to take evasive action. Close call for Caleb Johnson. And now Baptiste has closed into 2 car legs as they work back into turn number 1.
But now as we finally get to watch a couple laps go here, the differing lines are very impressive. Johnson turning in a little bit earlier, kind of cheating that entry a little bit. More contact. The car's going to save it. No!
Cole Patrick goes around all by himself there, and now is getting T-boned by the 27 of Evan Rygielski. We'll take a look at what happened, but I think it is exactly what we've seen multiple times tonight. Cole Patrick just hauls that thing too far into the corner. He about saves it. He did a great job, but then just kind of hooked that thing back to the right, and then the aid of Teddy Custody finishes him off right there off turn 2.
Well, as I was saying there, we finally seen some green flag racing, and one of the things I see a difference in from how I'm watching this race is Johnson cheats his entry just a little bit, diamonds up a little bit in the center of the corner, and drives back off the bottom. The other option is that Baptiste hangs it out a little bit on entry, kind of exposes himself a little bit. Luckily, nobody really there challenging him. Drives the thing across the track, really exits with a good, strong run off the bottom. Both seem to be working for the drivers. The only question is, which one's wearing out the tires the most? As we now work lap 37 here under caution, approaching the halfway point. Will either of these drivers have a tire kind of degradation issue, you could say, later on in the race?
Yeah, I definitely think we need to keep an eye on that. And you might think, well, what we were talking about earlier, Katie Hedinger was talking to somebody. Here in the iRacing sim, it's not like real life where the drivers are, kind of only talking to their spotter or their crew chief. Here in the sim, drivers can talk to each other. And Katie Hedinger was definitely expressing her displeasure with the driving from the 79 of Joaquin Stewart there. And that's just another interesting thing that iRacing provides here, is that these drivers can talk to each other. If they're mad at each other, they can let them know. That's one of the things that these race directors have to keep an eye on as well here, Chris.
What's going to be interesting here is now as they line up, obviously, that's actually going to put Joaquin on the outside of row number 2 and Katie on the inside of row number 3. So will that little bit of a feud continue to fuel here as we head off onto the restart?
And Chris, I think I asked you this last week, but I don't remember your answer because I have short-term memory loss. But have you ever been here to Richmond?
I have. So I've spotted here a few times with IndyCar. I was also there this last fall when we tested the new IndyCar Aero screen with Joseph Newgarden that day. So a lot of coolness. I got to tell you, the Richmond International Raceway management group, they've really done a great job of kind of updating the facility, you can say, really bringing it into modern times, more fan-friendly. And I was actually really looking forward to going there this year with the NTT IndyCar Series. However, it's just unfortunate that, obviously everything going on with the pandemic and the COVID-19, that event has been canceled officially for this year. It was the big return. It's going to be good. The track provides great racing no matter what kind of cars it is. And in fact, I remember back in my day, as we old people say, we would go here with IndyCar, and they used to have actually Pavement Sprint and Silver Crown cars with us, which was a fantastic show.
Oh, yeah. You got to love Pavement Silver Crown cars, man. They are some of the Silver Crown cars in general are just one of the coolest cars in racing, I would have to say, especially at places like Eldora, Lucas Oil Raceway, the mile tracks, obviously. And also, you're talking about Richmond Raceway really getting, modernizing not only their facility, but they have become very in tune with the iRacing. I don't know if you pay attention to the eNASCAR series or not, but they actually have a couple drivers that run in that series. They are the sponsor. They're the team owner, I guess you could say. So Richmond Raceway, this is definitely a great track for these drivers to get into here. And we've just got a little bit of a band hammer coming down here in the server. I'm not sure if you saw that or not, Chris.
Yeah, so I think that the drivers have kind of like there's a protocol here as far as the driver ethics and things like that, where if drivers commit too many penalties or things of that nature that are yeah, exactly, the 2-strike rule. And unfortunately, I believe the number 20 of Cole Patrick has met the 2-strike rule and has been removed from the server. But just like that, the pace car is going to pull off. We're headed green flag as it waves. Now the drivers working lap 40, now make it 41, head off into turn number 1 once again with a great start by Caleb Johnson.
And just over halfway here in this one, Holly Clark underneath of Baptista for the second spot. And almost contact behind him between Morris and Hettinger, but Clark's got the spot, and that might open the door here for the 79 car of Joaquin Stewart, as he's going to try and follow in the footsteps of Clark off of turn number 4 and down the front stretch. Great battle for the second spot, and they're both tracking down the leader. And I think Caleb Johnson might have had a little misstep there off turn 4.
Yeah, it might be just a little bit of lost momentum, but here he comes, gathering it back up. Another car spinning all by itself in turns 1 and 2, sliding sideways. Looks like we're going to stay green for that one, and this could be a thing where Holly Clark's just been studying. Caleb Johnson's tires could finally be falling off. We don't know. We need about another 6-7 laps of green flag running to really get a feel for what's going on with these drivers.
And yeah, she is running very equal lap times. Look at her. She is off the bottom of the corner, a lot lower than the 15 of Johnson. She looks to the inside, and the 15 tried to block it. He's going to slide up the racetrack. And now Clark taking a look to the inside, but can't quite get there. And now she's having to fend off a charge from Baptista behind, and the 79 of Joaquin Stewart's right there as well. Really, the top 5 drivers nose to tail off of turn number 2 down the backstretch.
And you can see that when Caleb Johnson really gets that diamond run off of turns 1 and 2, how much of a gap he's able to open up off on Holly Clark here. Now Clark trying to kind of reshuffle the deck there, now losing tons of time to your leader. And that's going to allow a battle for second to really kick off here as the leader, plus about 8 car lengths, no pressure.
Yeah, Caleb Johnson pulling away with this one, as this might turn into one of the longest green flag runs that we've seen here tonight. Working lap 45 is Baptista right on the back bumper of Holly Clark. You see the slower car on the infield. That was Aiden Brooks, but we stay green. And Baptista working on the back bumper of Holly Clark. Joaquin Stewart has slipped back a little bit and almost into the clutches of the 71 car of Katie Hettinger. But here comes Baptista up to the rear bumper down the back straight, and they might have the battle for the second. He's going to look to the inside down to turn 3, but Clark's going to try and block it. But Baptista, he runs right through the door and takes the second spot.
Clark looked in the mirror and said, all right, I'm not going to risk this one. I have a great drive going here. She made the right decision there. She didn't put too much pressure on blocking there, and she settled back in. Now she's going to go back after the 7.
I thought she was going to try and make a dive bomb maneuver there into turn 1, but thought better of it. Great smart driving there by Holly Clark. And now Baptista, he's a little bit sideways in the center of 3 and 4. And now Clark taking a look back to the inside. So the 7, as we've seen so far tonight, he kind of drove it a little bit too deep, got that car sideways, lost a ton of momentum, and the 26 of Clark works back to the inside, and it allows the 79 of Joaquin Stewart and the 71 of Katie Hettinger to join the fray here. 4 cars under a blanket for second.
The battle for second definitely starting to heat up here. As you can see, Clark going to drive off the bottom, but here comes the number 7 of Baptista back to the bottom of Clark into turn number 1. Joaquin Stewart now going to throw it in there. Katie Hettinger trying to mix it up a little bit. So this one right here looks like we're plate racing and some pack racing going on. Meanwhile, it's reality. The small confines, Richmond International Raceway, be working lap 50. Contact! What a save!
And Holly Clark somehow keeps that thing out of the concrete, keeps on digging, loses another spot now to Trick Murdo. But Baptista now gets clear of her along with the 79 and the 71 car. And Baptista's got clear track to work with. This is where we start to pay attention to the lap times. This is the longest run we've had so far tonight, Chris, and we'll see what the lap times say this time by. Caleb Johnson, 22.68. Baptista, 22.72. So Johnson still a little bit better here as we work on lap number 51 with 29 to go.
The connection, though, for Dylan Baptista got a little sketchy there. My camera focused on his car. It flashed in and out. Will that become a situation here as we wind down these laps? I sure hope not, because I hope that nobody ever has to be taken out of a race because of connectivity issues. But it's something, unfortunately, that we've got to be mindful of. And as we look back here, just a little bit back, Clark now back into the 6th position. So it is Johnson, Baptista, Stewart, Hettinger, Yurto back up after some early issues, now in the top 5.
And now he gets kind of moved out of the way by that 26 car of Holly Clark. She takes back 5th, and Yurto slips back to the 6th place spot. At the moment, really everybody within the top 6 are on the same straightaway. Obviously, the straightaways are pretty long, but and they're pretty spread out, but a pretty close battle there throughout these first couple of drivers, running pretty equal lap times as Johnson makes it by the first lap car of Nathaniel Edwards, puts him another lap down. The best battle on the speedway is the one for the 3rd position between the blue 79 and the black 71 car. Katie Hettinger, she's not going to be happy. She has already been blocked several times by Joaquin Stewart, and he does it again right there.
Big block there by Stewart, but as I was watching on Nathaniel Edwards, this connectivity issue for Baptista not getting at it better. 4 times on the last lap, the car flashed in and out on the screen.
And last time by, he was nearly a second faster than your race leader. It was over a second gap, and now they're down to 9/10 between Johnson and Baptista. 25 laps to go here, and I think at this pace, 22.75 for Baptista, and it looks like a 22.74. So very equal lap times. Johnson might have just had a hiccup that last time by that allowed Baptista to close back in, but towards the end here, I think we're going to have a great race for the lead as Baptista sticks to the bottom and the 15 of Johnson kind of runs up there in lane 2.
I think the leaders right now are kind of set. I don't really see much happening unless one of them really makes a mistake. A 22.8 for Johnson last time by, 22.7 for Baptista. They're kind of going lap for lap here. But Stewart, a 22.9 last lap, 22.8 by Hettinger, and a 22.8 by Clark. Also, Yurto right there with the 22.8. So all these drivers all run about the same lap times, and they're spread out like mayonnaise on a sandwich. So not really sure as far as the top 2 at least, maybe even back to 3rd unless somebody can get a run there on Joaquin. I'm not really sure I see many changes.
I think Baptista is about...
Oh, no. Something has happened with Zach Morris. Big damage, heavy smoke, headed to the pits. That changes these points again. So although Baptista not having the night that he probably wants from behind the wheel, not winning a race or dominating it, the 2 closest competitors have had nothing but troubles here in the points. As there's a quick repair, but the damage might be done unless there's a caution and he can stay on to get the Lucky Dog Award. Hits a cone leaving pit lane. Zach Morris now in the 99 grabbing gears and leaving. The damage might be done. As Morris now the leading car, 1 lap down in 10th.
Takes his frustration out on that green cone, leaving the pit road there. And Baptista is visually closing in on Caleb Johnson. Another 10th clicked off the lead that time by with, 20 laps to go this time by. This is shaping up to be an incredible finish if we can stay green. Baptista definitely has the better tires right now. A 22.65 to a 22.76 as Johnson makes it by the slower car, Aiden Brooks. And this is going to be a dogfight to finish this one off tonight at Richmond Raceway. Baptista now within 5 car lengths off turn number 4 down the front straightaway.
We watch now to see what the lap times are. 22.747 for Caleb Johnson and a 22.752. So 22.752 of Baptista compared to the 22.747. Lap times, oh so close. Once again off turn number 4. This time we will kick off lap 63.
Yeah, I'm telling you, this is going to be a good finish right here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching on the Race Face Brand Development Facebook page, do not go anywhere. Dylan Baptista, he's got his head down, the elbows up. He is determined to win another one of these races after getting an EOL penalty last week at the Lucas Oil Raceway late in that one. More lap traffic up ahead for your leaders. They'll get there to those guys here in about 5 laps. Caleb Johnson sees him coming. And you see Caleb, he's really chopping the engine to turn 1 down a little bit. I think he missed the bottom a few too many times, Chris, trying to, turn that car in for a late apex. And now Johnson playing it safe, entering the corner lower, entering the corner earlier, I should say, trying to keep that car pinned to the bottom. 22.91 for Baptista and a 22.78 for Johnson. He's pulled back away a little bit here.
Well, I think that's going to be the thing here. We've talked about all night. You got to be consistent around this place. It's not easy. It's definitely not an easy facility to get around. You barely touch the apron and on either end on the bottom trying to work it. The car either, hucklebucks out towards the fence or really kills the momentum. 22.757 for Johnson, 22.8 for Baptista. Last time by.
We're 3 wide for third back there between Stewart, Hettinger, and Clark. Still 3 wide through 1 and 2. And Clark, he got one around on the back stretch. He's going to keep on going. That was Zach Morris, but Clark goes from 5th to 3rd in one corner as Stewart's fighting back on the outside. But Holly Clark, after that issue earlier on, she's coming back through the field. But she needs a yellow if she wants any shot at winning this thing.
A great battle here. Zierto now going to go to the bottom of Hettinger. Nothing there. Going to kind of clip the apron a little bit into turn number 1. Clark now able to get up in front of Stewart. Stewart going to try and crossover now right back to the bottom. Contact! Clark into Hettinger. Oh, no! He's going to take himself out. Contact with Stewart. Stewart with damage is now going to be in the 3rd spot as Joaquin Stewart with heavy damage on the front of that Hellman's Mayonnaise number 79 machine.
You think he's actually sponsored by Hellman's Mayonnaise?
That, or maybe he's like me and just likes mayonnaise on his cheeseburgers. I don't know.
Well, I'll tell you right now, he's going to need some mayonnaise or something to fix the engine on that car because it is blown out as you see the smoke billowing out of the back of the 79 car. And I'm telling you right now, Joaquin Stewart did not make many friends here tonight at Richmond Raceway, but that's just a product of short track racing, as we see just about every week here with the Junior Late Model Esports Next Series. Contact down into the corner, sends Clark around right into Hettinger, and Joaquin Stewart is going to be leaving the Richmond Raceway tonight with a few less friends than he started with.
That's so unfortunate, and I'm bummed out, obviously, because I was really loving how that race was shaping up. As we look right now at our running order, Zierto in the 3rd spot. Hettinger scored in 4th, trying to look at this car and get the damage. The front end on this thing all torn up. Just kind of getting some more angles on it here. Yeah, big damage here on board the number 71 machine of Hettinger. Another car spinning behind Hettinger. I saw in the corner of my eye here under yellow. Not sure what that's all about. The question is, how much damage is cosmetic and how much is mechanical here on the number 71?
Yeah, I think that she's definitely got some mechanical damage. I mean, look at the front end on that thing. You could see it looks like a modified out there. I mean, the front tires are nearly fully exposed there on the 71 machine. So really, she's just trying to hang on and have a good points night. Running in 4th, we've got, 10 cars on the lead lap. And how about the comeback here for Chasen Groff? All the way back to 5th. He's been involved in at least 2 or 3 accidents this evening. And it just goes to show that you are never out of one of these Junior Late Model Esports events. Chasen Groff making his way back through the field in that MPI steering wheel 77 machine. But, man, resetting the field with less than 10 to go, I think we're about to see a shootout between your top 2 drivers here.
It's definitely going to be an intense one as I look here at the number 77 of Chasen Groff. Another little flicker of connection there. Some damage on the right front. Obviously, he's already used the quick repair. But while doing my research, how about this one? Chasen Groff with a new Legend car recently, I believe. Got to see some videos on his social media. That was fun to see. Love the Legend cars and love seeing these drivers get to move up throughout their careers, even though it's at an early stage.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Legend car racing on pavement. I've seen some really good Legend car races in the past, and I'm not even messing around. I'm a Legend car fan, no doubt about it. I'm also a fan of Dwarf car racing. You know, Legends on dirt, those are really cool to see as well. As it looks like the lights are still on, and yeah, we're gonna have. It looks like Joaquin Stewart did receive an EOL penalty there from the race directors, and you know, we talked about it earlier in the race when Cole Patrick got removed from the server. The two-strike system definitely in play tonight, and Joaquin Stewart, I think he's used up his 2 strikes there, and he gets an EOL.
Whew. This one's starting to heat up here. 10 cars on the lead lap. Nathaniel Edwards running in the 10th spot in the number 12 machine. Then it is on track on scoring currently the 79 of Joaquin Stewart. 8th, that belongs to the 66 of Trevor Raymond. Don't count this guy out yet, even though he's got some damage. In the 7th spot, the number 18 of Chase Berta. 6 is going to be Holly Clark. And again, not sure about the amount of damage. Didn't look like the contact there was nearly as bad as some of the others. Chasen Groff, we've covered his current situation in the 5th spot. Katie Hettinger, that thing looks destroyed in 4th. Trenton Zierto, he's got some decent damage too from that last incident running on the 3rd spot. And then the two that have been out front, lights out all night long, Caleb Johnson, Dylan Baptista, these two are going to put on one heck of a show. Don't go anywhere, folks. This one's going to be a barn burner.
Yeah, absolutely. Those two at the front of the field, I don't think they've even got a scratch on those cars as we are coming back to green this time by. Lights are out on top of the pace car, and we're going to have, it looks like 7 to go here when we come back to green. It's going to be Caleb Johnson. He's led all 73 laps up to this point. Can he hang on to close out and win his first ever Junior Late Model Esports next series event? We'll find out. It's 7 short laps here at Richmond Raceway. Back on the hammer. Great start for Johnson as Baptista trying to fend off a charge on the inside from Trenton Yurdo. As they head back into turn 1, it looks like he will do so. And now he's going to go get to work and try and get by Johnson, who nearly clips the wall off turn 2 and down the backstretch.
Johnson with about a 3 to 4 car length lead now, headed off into turn number 3. 2-3 wide. Looks like they're shuffling the deck pretty hard from 4th on back. Hedinger is able to get around Yurto now into the 3rd spot. So Hedinger looking for her first visit to the broadcast booth on a post-race night here so far in this season, as we're 2/3 of the way complete. Points obviously a big picture, but right now Dylan Baptista not worried about those. He's got his eyes locked on the back bumper, the number 15 machine of Caleb Johnson. We'll see the lap times as they cross the stripe. More contact a little bit further back. Drivers still clean and green though. 22.640 for Caleb Johnson, 22.608 for Baptista. These two drivers are neck and neck, and Baptista starting to close in just a little bit here through turns 1 and 2.
And Baptista might have to break out the old chrome horn here if he wants to get by the 15 of Caleb Johnson. Johnson been oh so consistent, just hitting his line every single lap. 4 to go, that time by the stripe tonight at the Richmond Raceway. Baptista is trying to get the job done for the 3rd time in this series, looking for his win number 3 as he kind of scraped the wall on the backstretch right there. Does not lose a whole lot of ground. Caleb Johnson running lane 2 off turn number 4. Here comes Baptista, now a half car length down the front straightaway. 3 laps to go, and Baptista is as close as he's ever been here, Chris, as they go back into turn 1. Both drivers trying to run there in lane number 2. Baptista doing everything he can to get by Caleb Johnson here.
Johnson missed it a little bit last time in 3 and 4. Baptista missed a little bit in 1 and 2. Johnson going to miss a little bit again, but so does Baptista. Baptista gets a wheel straight just a little bit quicker. Releases the wheel, gets it back to the outside, tries to carry the momentum, working lap 79 now. 2 to go. Baptista trying the crossover move, enters high, going to try and get to the bottom, but Johnson going to hold it down here strong. Big contact in the back. We're still green flag racing though, as Yurto has gotten around Hedinger for that 3rd spot. Hedinger now trying to clear Yurto. Yurto's going to slip up, white flag in the air. Your leaders bumper to bumper, and they're crisscross applesauce for 3rd.
Final time in a 1 and 2. Baptista looks to the inside, he's sideways. Oh, he hangs onto it, and that is going to hand it right to the 15 of Caleb Johnson, who is free and clear and under control through 3 and 4. He's going to win his first time here in the Nitro Lubricants Junior Late Model Esports next series. Caleb Johnson wins tonight at the Richmond Raceway. He leads all 80 laps. Baptista, a valiant effort, had a run on him, but that car got a little sideways. He got on the apron and lost the handling and lost a ton of ground. Ends up 1 second behind in P2. Trenton Yurdo comes back for a 3rd place run. Katie Hettinger 4th, and Trevor Raymond 14th to 5th. And I have got to say, Chris, that was easily the most exciting race we've seen so far in the Junior Late Model Esports Next Series.
Such a great effort, obviously, by several drivers early on. We talked about after qualifying and heat races what these drivers are going to be going through. And just like that, Caleb Johnson manages to put it together, goes wire to wire here, fended off so many challengers. Stayed true to the things that, funny enough, we talked about at the beginning of this broadcast. That was, you've got to stay consistent, you got to hit your marks, and you've got to stay out of trouble. Congratulations, Chase Johnson, number 15 machine. That's exactly what he has done.
And let's talk to our winner here. We'll drag him into the Speed Lab TV broadcast booth. Caleb Johnson, do you have a copy on us, buddy?
Yes, I copy.
Dude, you just drove the wheels off that car right there. Man, lead all 80 laps, but it did not come easy, man. Baptista, who's been very good in every race this year, was pressuring you, especially there on that last long green flag run. Then you had to hold him off for another restart. How nervous were you right there those last 2 laps trying to fend him off?
I was so nervous. I thought he was going to get me that last turn when I blew it. Then he blew it.
And it sounds like you got some fans cheering you on in the background there, Caleb. A great drive, man. How much practice did you put in trying to get ready for this race sign at Richmond Raceway? Because it seemed like you were one of the most comfortable drivers out on the speedway.
Well, I practiced a lot. I did at least 100 laps each day over the week, and I did all the practice races on Monday. I just was lucky.
Well, it clearly paid off tonight here, Caleb. A great job, man. And it seemed like you were kind of trying to keep your car about in the second lane, one lane off the bottom. Was that kind of the place, the happy medium to, obviously running the bottom and getting that momentum down the straightaway, that high side momentum? Was that kind of why you were running there in that second lane? Because it seemed like when you got way down the bottom, the car would get loose. What was the determining factor there for running that second lane?
So in practice, whenever I ran the bottom lane, I got really loose coming in at the corner. And if I ran the top lane, then I would blow the corner. So I just decided on the middle, and I practiced the middle. And I felt like that was a good line for the car.
Definitely makes sense to me. Well, Caleb, great job by you tonight, man. That was really, really exciting to watch. Anybody you got to thank? Any sponsors, any family or friends that are watching tonight?
I would like to thank my brother, my sister, and my mom and dad.
Well, there he is, Caleb Johnson, the winner tonight in car number 15 there, Chris Wheeler. And second place this evening, the 7 of Dylan Baptista, and he's standing by now, Chris Wheeler.
Dylan Baptista, hard-fought battle here tonight at Richmond International Raceway. Came into this event with a points lead over, I believe it was Chase Berta and Zach Morris. You're going to leave this event running P number 2 with an even bigger lead. Talk to us a little bit about your night, man.
Yeah, that night we had a strong car right off the bat. In the end, after battling started to die down, I slowly reeled him in, and I tried to make a last lap move. Got a little loose. Doesn't matter. Still got a second, and we still ended up with the points lead, I guess.
Talk to us about that a little bit. I mean, restarting on the outside was definitely not the preferred line throughout the entire event, and it kept going back and forth with you and Holly Clark. You'd pass her. You'd restart third, you'd drive by her, then you'd be second, you'd get a caution, now you're back to the outside, she'd get by on the bottom. Talk to us about how frustrating that can be with all these yellows back-to-back and how you're able to keep your composure to look and put your whole program together here for another strong run.
It was a little bit frustrating because I knew I had a fast enough car to win the race, but I just had to make the outside work, and I did a lot of times that race.
Well, as you know the drill, you've been here a lot this year. Who do you want to thank? Who's made this event possible here for you tonight?
First, I'm going to congratulate Caleb and Trenton on their podium runs, and Trenton just drove beautifully at the end, from like 7th to 3rd in like 3 laps. And I'd also like to thank the Rice family, the East family, the Abadesian family, and every single person that's helped me since I started in quarter midgets a few years ago.
Well, there you have it, folks. That's Dylan Baptista. He leaves round 5 of 6, number 7 on the track, but you guessed it, number 1 in the point standings. And now we're going to kick it back over to Chase, who's with your third-place finisher, the number 24 machine, Mr. Trenton Eartoe.
Yeah, Trenton, man, a wild race for you, up and down. I mean, you were wrecked a couple times, came to the pits, took a quick repair, drove to the field on multiple occasions, and tonight you come home with a third-place finish. And I guess that's what we talk about every single week is, you might be down in one of these races at the beginning, but you are never out. And you prove that to be a fact here this evening. A third-place run after all that's happened to you, you got to be a little bit excited about that.
Yeah, this actually kind of feels like a win to me because my game had froze and it crashed, and it was during qualifying, so I didn't get to qualify because when I came back there were 3 seconds left, so I had to start in the back of the back of the pack from my heat race, and on the start it froze again, and then it started just kind of glitching, and then it got better, so I used my fast repair because I had hit the wall and hit somebody because it had froze, and I got my fast repair, went back out there and got 4th, so I started 7th, I think. And yeah, I just gotta thank Les Schwab Tires, Bakersfield Paint Wallpaper, Thurman Veterinary, CC Racing Support System, Sideways Design, and Jason Sauer.
Well, Trenton, next week we head back here to Richmond for the final race of the season. Is there one thing you learned tonight at this track? Because it seems like a lot of guys were running different lines, whether that was entering in early, turning into the corner late, or things like that. What did you learn this evening that might help you and propel you to a win next week back here at Richmond?
I kind of think just doing the same thing, but I mean, maybe a little bit of a different line. Also, I gotta say, because I beat Katie by less than a tenth, so congrats to her. Oh, and congrats to Caleb on the win.
Well, there he is, Trenton Yurdo, P3 tonight for the number 24 car. And, well, Chris, I mentioned earlier, but I think that was the most exciting race we've had. I mean, we had a late race battle, and we had a first-time winner. That's the fourth winner in 5 races so far. So a great run tonight for all the drivers with the Junior Late Model Esports Next Series presented by Nitro Lubricants here tonight at Richmond. And next week we do it all again. Are you still with us there, Chris?
I am. Sorry about that. But no, like you said, I think tonight was absolutely the best race. I'm really excited about next week. Obviously, I think it's going to be a little bit different maybe for Baptista, maybe a little bit less aggressive because he's going to be thinking points, final round of the season. Obviously, he wants that championship prize package. And then you're going to have a lot of drivers looking for their first wins, but they're going to have to get around Caleb Johnson because right now, as we look off into week number 6, he's going to be the one to beat.
No doubt about it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's all the coverage we have for you here tonight on Speed Lab TV and the Raceface Brand Development Facebook page. We thank everybody for watching here this evening and chiming in on the Facebook, letting us know who you've been cheering on. And next week, we'll do it all again here, another 80-lapper, the final race of the Nitro Lubricants Junior Late Model Esports Next Series is right here at Richmond. Same time, same place next Tuesday night. And so we hope to see you there once again. I'm Chase Rodman for Chris Wheeler and Dylan Schiebel. We'll see you guys next Monday for the final round of this series.
Your home is a lot like your car. It requires regular maintenance to keep it safe and maintain its value. The professional technicians from Home Smiles complete all your annual maintenance items in just one day. Save time and keep your family safe with our complete 18-point service starting at just $49 a month. Order today with promo code FREEMONTH and we'll waive your first payment.
1-888-SMILE-11. One click or call, smile, it's done.